There's a certain peace that comes when the insides of you finally stop arguing with each other, and when your body and your mind and your soul are no longer like negotiating for dominance. When the voice inside doesn't really sound like a debate anymore, but sounds more like you've come home. But most of us, I don't think, live this way. I think we live more in tension. We live in contradiction. We live in this space between what we know is right and what we keep choosing anyway. And over time, it's that dissonance that becomes our norm. And so we stop noticing the pain of misalignment because the chaos becomes familiar. This is Uber Bintegers, where integrity becomes our compass and where intimacy becomes our rhythm. Today we're talking about this internal alignment. It's that rare state where our values and our emotions and our actions finally start agreeing with each other. Because until we live from that place, we'll always, in essence, be at war with ourselves. It's this split that's within. But let's be real. I think many of us have two lives, right? It's the one that we show the world, and then the one that we harbor on the inside. We post clarity online, but internally we're wrestling with confusion. We preach peace, but we can't find it within ourselves. We look composed perhaps in public, but in private we are quite scattered. And that split isn't hypocrisy, I don't think. I think this is human conditioning. We were raised in these systems that reward performance, but not presence, right? We learn to smile when we're hurting, and we learn to agree even when internally we strongly disagree. We serve when we're starving, right? We say I'm fine when we're really falling apart. And that isn't as much lying as it is surviving, I think. But survival has a cost, though, doesn't it? Survival, I don't know, it fragments us. It teaches us to mistrust our own intuition, and it makes us like very fluent in self-betrayal. And so we start confusing peace with compliance. But integrity is this return to wholeness, right? Integrity is not about being perfect. Integrity is about being one. See, the word integrity itself comes from the root word integer, which means whole or undivided in mathematical terms. Integrity means that your words and your actions and your beliefs are in relationship and not in contradiction. It means that you stop editing yourself for acceptance. It means that you stop betraying yourself and your truth for belonging in a certain setting. It means that your yes and your no both carry the same energy of honesty. See, living from integrity does not mean that you always feel certain. It means that you're just done pretending. It's the difference between performing truth and actually practicing it, between sounding right and being real. And this kind of alignment doesn't make life easier as much as it makes it feel truer. Because once you commit to living in integrity, peace stops being situational. It now becomes internal. Even when things go wrong, even when people misunderstand you, even when you lose something temporary to protect something timeless, right? And integrity would say things like, I can live with this, right? Intimacy is being able to hear yourself again, right? Intimacy is the other pillar of this channel, of this platform. And it's what brings us home to our own voice. Because here's the truth. Most of us, we can't live in alignment if we can't actually hear ourselves clearly in the first place. We've in essence been drowned out by everyone else's expectations, from familial to cultural to religion to social to media and tradition. And it goes on, and our identity becomes this collage of borrowed beliefs. And so we mistake approval for alignment, and we mistake comfort for peace, and we mistake silence for agreement. But intimacy invites us to listen inwardly. It asks us, what's actually true for me in this moment? Not what's convenient, or not what's expected, not what keeps the peace, but what's true. And when we listen long enough, I think something miraculous begins to happen, and that is that we begin to trust ourselves again. We start noticing the cues that our body gives, the tightening perhaps when we're off course, right? Or the exhale when we're feeling aligned. We stop outsourcing every decision to the opinions of others. And we begin to feel the difference between ego and essence. See, that's intimacy with self. It's the soil where internal alignment grows. And how misalignment feels, right? I think we can tell when we're out of alignment because our body tells us. It's perhaps the tightness in the chest that we feel when we agree to something that we did not want to do, right? Or the way our tummy kind of drops when we say yes out of guilt, maybe instead of out of joy. Or that exhaustion that doesn't really come from working as much as it does from pretending. See, we can't fake being like this sense of peace. Our nervous system knows when we are lying to ourselves. And here's the brutal truth in this. Every time that we abandon our alignment, we're teaching our bodies to distrust us. And that's why healing feels like conflict at first. Because it is. It's the war between who we've been and who we actually are. And until we choose alignment over approval, we'll keep reliving that same inner arguments. But there's this thing about living from the inside out instead of from the outside in. Living from our internal alignment, I think, means that we start making decisions not from the outside in, but from the inside out. Here, like, we no longer ask, well, what will they think? Now we ask, what will this do to my sense of peace? We no longer are going to chase for validation in this zone. We instead are chasing for integrity, that alignment, that internal alignment. We no longer shape shift to fit the moment. Instead, we want to bring our full selves into it and then let whoever is going to stay, and those who go. This does not mean that we stop caring about what others feel. It just means that we stop sacrificing truth to keep false harmony. Because the constant, there's a cost, this constant adaptation for adaptability. And once we lose that, I think it's then that we start disappearing from our own lives. But this takes practicing alignment daily. See, internal alignment isn't just this one-time revelation. It's an ongoing, habitual daily practice. And I think this is what it could look like in real life. It's when you pause before reacting and you ask, what's true for me right now in this moment? It's when you listen for your discomfort. Instead of silencing it, you become curious about it. You stop negotiating on your boundaries. You trust your first no. Or you start telling the truth sooner. And you stop rehearsing the fake scripts for acceptance. It's when you let peace, not fear, help you make your decisions. And yes, it'll cost things. It'll cost you relationships sometimes. Sometimes it'll cost you opportunities in life, or the version of yourself that depended on that sense of approval. But what you're going to gain, though, freedom, authenticity, alignment that no one can ever take away from you. And when alignment feels lonely, I think this is something we don't talk about often, but alignment, it can feel lonely at first. See, when you stop playing roles on who depended on those roles, like those individuals will likely step back and they'll say, you've changed. And they might accuse you of being selfish. They might say, you've forgotten where you came from. But you haven't forgotten. You've finally remembered. You're just no longer confusing self-abandonment with generosity. You're no longer mistaking approval for love. You're no longer willing to pay to betray your truth for this temporary sense of belonging here. No, this is not arrogance. This is an awakening. And while it might feel isolating at first, I think eventually it starts attracting the kind of connections that see you clearly, because you finally see yourself clearly. Integrity and intimacy, together these two are a powerful combination. Integrity is what aligns us, right? And intimacy is what connects us. And together they form a way of living that feels like peace, even when life does not cooperate. Integrity says, this is who I am, unapologetically. And intimacy says, I'm not afraid to be seen as I am. See, that's alignment in action. And when you live from that place, you stop performing your worth and you start now embodying it. You start moving through this world quietly yet powerfully, no longer trying to prove anything, but just living and existing as proof. Tomorrow, my dear listener, we're going to continue this journey with how the truth that many of us struggle to believe is what we say no to, and how that can help reveal our worth. But for today, let's breathe this in. You don't have to perform peace anymore. You just have to live aligned with it. Your integrity is your compass. Your intimacy can be that rhythm. So follow both of these, and I don't think you'll ever lose yourself again. I'll see you in tomorrow's episode.